Chapter 5, Part 3. Willie grew increasingly agitated as he waited for over 25 minutes in the private dining room. The significant legal battle between Will and King was looming. King, usually dominant, seemed vulnerable now. The spotlight was on King's intricate corporate web, spanning secretive jurisdictions like Liechtenstein, Jersey, and Luxembourg. These networks hinted at money laundering, tax evasion, and undisclosed ownerships, among other illicit activities. The lawsuit's core was King's breach of Irish Energy's shareholder agreement and bylaws, potentially leading to the forced sale of his shares. Will, along with his ex-partner Paddy Conlon, found a clause in the agreement. If ownership shifted without shareholder consent, those shares must be sold. King's discrete share transfers across offshore entities without clear ownership verification meant his shares were, in principle, up for sale. While Will's legal team initially hesitated to highlight this issue, fearing King's reputedly vindictive nature and the potential fallout on their practices, Will was resolute. He'd replace any solicitors unwilling to confront King head-on. King's move to shelter his parent company within a foundation structure for tax and disclosure advantages had inadvertently triggered the ownership change clause. Such clauses, typically in private firms, ensure transparency about shareholders and their influence on board appointments. With King's ownership now ambiguous, Will saw an opportunity and planned to leverage it fully, aware he was in a high-stakes contest against formidable opponents. Moreover, King's shift of his holdings to an unlimited offshore arrangement further muddled the waters. This meant no company within the structure had to publicly disclose finances or ownership, rendering them opaque. It left everyone guessing, was King the genuine owner of the Irish Energy shares, or merely a facade for another entity? Frank and Will, known as the American Quinlans, had started to harbor suspicions during the escalating disputes with King that eventually led to the lawsuit. If their speculations held true, the pressing question was, who had taken over the ownership? The forthcoming trial was expected to shed light on this mystery while pushing King out of the equation. Such considerations preoccupied Willie incessantly. If Will managed to unmask King's operations, then Willie's covert dealings with King could also come under scrutiny. Growing impatient after a prolonged wait for King, Willie was about to depart when the room's sliding doors opened to reveal King's entrance. "Willie, my friend," King greeted, with an enthusiastic tone. "My apologies for the tardiness. Hugh might have informed you," he said, nodding toward the restaurant's host trailing him. "I hope you haven't been waiting too long." Offering a courteous smile despite his evident irritation, Willie responded, "Hello, Colin. It hasn't been that long. I hope you are well." "All is splendid," King responded, exuding confidence. "I've just finalized plans for my Spain trip tomorrow." Sit. Did Hugh get you something to drink?" he asked, gesturing for Willie to retake his seat, while signaling Hugh to approach and tend to Willie's beverage needs. King excelled at charming those he needed and ruthlessly targeting those he wished to defeat. Frank often mused whether King was schizophrenic or just sinister, given his ability to oscillate between charm and cruelty. To many, King seemed devilish, expertly enticing individuals to sacrifice their integrity and assets. These individuals, driven by ego and insatiable ambition, often fell prey to King's schemes. Although they might gain temporarily, ultimately they and their legacy would be consumed by King. He was an insatiable predator, addicted to the thrill of the chase and conquest. Willie eased back into his seat, requesting, "Sparkling water with a lime, please." The distinguished host, dressed impeccably in a three-piece suit, nodded, moving towards the bar to fetch Willie's drink. "And I'll have my usual," King interjected, referring to his preferred drink of sparkling water with blackcurrant concentrate. The host acknowledged, "Of course, sir." Aware he had intruded on King's upcoming holiday to Spain, Willie attempted to make casual conversation. "I hear Spain's quite lovely now," Willie stated. King responded, "Yes, Rosie and I built a home there years ago." She despises Ireland's damp winters and will be staying in Spain for a while. I'll accompany her but will return for the hunt later this week. I gather you won't be joining. The hunt was King's annual New Year's Eve equestrian event at Blackstaff Manor, a grand affair that attracted the elite of Ireland. Willie answered, "My children gifted me a trip to Rome for Christmas, a trip I've always wanted to take, especially with Georgina. Unfortunately, we never got the chance before her health declined." King mused, "Rome sounds delightful. I've connections in southern Italy, though never in Rome. Did you enjoy your Christmas?" "Yes, my daughter visited from Paris. Des and his family joined on Christmas Day," Willie shared. "And Catherine?" King inquired about Willie's frequently seen widowed sister. "She dropped by on Christmas Eve, but mostly stayed with her children," Willie replied. After the loss of his wife in August, Willie's first Christmas alone was filled with sadness and anger. This emotion drove him to call King, wanting an urgent meeting during the holidays. "When was our last meeting? At Georgina's funeral?" King mused. Despite buying Willie's shares in Irish Energy, King seemed to have little interest in further interactions. However, a looming court case forced Willie to seek updates, fearing their secret transactions would be exposed, which could lead to legal consequences for him. "I need to know where we stand with the lawsuit against Will Quinlan," Willie insisted, reminding King of their long-standing arrangement. The plan, spanning over a decade, involved shady deals and manipulations on Willie's part in exchange for King's assurance of secrecy. Despite all their efforts, their endeavors bore no fruit. The media, focusing on the lawsuit, inaccurately portrayed Frank, not Willie, as the sole founder of Irish Energy, infuriating Willie. Jealousy of Frank had always plagued Willie, who sought recognition and longed to establish his legacy as the main force behind Irish Energy. King, needing Willie's support until the case concluded, manipulated public opinion using media outlets mostly under government influence. They painted the narrative that while King, once notorious, was the hero, Frank and Will, despite their positive contributions to Irish Energy, were the villains. Yet, every move by King was deftly countered by Frank and Will in court. This not only frustrated King, but also fueled Willie's impatience. Assured of governmental backing, King was confident of a favorable outcome. The judiciary's reshuffling, including a notably swift promotion of a judge, suggested the government's intent to ensure a pro-King stance. King reassured Willie that all was in control, including key government departments. Amidst these intricate power plays, Will, as a foreigner, found himself facing an uphill battle against powerful forces in Ireland.